Not seen this type of level of destruction ever.
Catastrophic destruction like they've never seen before. A deadly tornado ripped through Alabama, leaving a mile-wide path of destruction.
Tornadoes then crossed the border and ravaged parts of Georgia. From our Skyfox drone, you can see how widespread the damage is. Homes are gone and debris covers the ground.
Talbot County was one of the worst hit. Homes were destroyed there, trees knocked down, people terrified, trying to survive those deadly storms.
My babies, I just covered them just like this and calling on Jesus. Just kept saying, Jesus, cover us, Jesus. And that's what he did, because we're supposed to be dead if you look at that house.
Everything that's been built for 19 years.
Gone.
In the blink of an eye.
And tonight, people are trying to save whatever they can, but many find there's not much left to save.
Well, gone in the blink of an eye. That's how people are describing how quickly these tornadoes ripped through that area, destroying everything in sight. Good evening and welcome. I'm Tom Haynes.
And I'm Marissa Mitchell. The National Weather Service has confirmed at least 7 tornadoes touched down across Alabama and Georgia yesterday.
The most powerful of those tornadoes hit Lee County in Alabama. The tornado was an EF4 with winds of 170 miles an hour. It killed 23 people, including 3 children. The youngest just 3 years old.
And here in Georgia, no one was killed, but the devastation is catastrophic.
In Talbot County, some houses are just gone. Others have been knocked off of their foundations. Cars are crushed and debris is everywhere.
Now we have live team coverage of the tornadoes. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in Lee County, Alabama. But let's start with Doug Evans, who is in Talbot County. Doug.
Marissa, I'm standing in the doorway of what was an apartment building here in Talbotton. Step on inside. Not like you have to use the door anymore. This is the kitchen area. All that I could find left was a can of green beans, no walls, no roof. The lady who lived here suffered only a broken leg. It's a miracle, really. The lady on the other side, she had scrapes and bruises. The lady on the left side, she ran to a neighbor's house and survived as well. There were no deaths in Talbotton, although this tornado certainly could have taken lives. A family looks for their belongings in the fallen treetops of Talbotton. Skyfox drone shows us that Sunday's twister stomped on Talbot County. At what used to be Ray Jenkins' home, he is standing in the only boots and clothes left. Everything else was taken or destroyed.
I lost all 5 vehicles and lost my house. And everything just gone.
And look at Kalisha Leonard's house, or what's left of it. Friends are helping the mother of 3 salvage her furnishings. Skyfox drone shows us how the tornado twisted her house off its foundation. She says she and her children had been hiding in a back room that was destroyed. They all survived.
The house did a 180 turn, and it just wiped us out. Like, that sound of that tornado is something I never forget.
The storm that hit Talbotton is the same tornado that hit Lee County, Alabama, killing more than a dozen people. This area is 80 miles from there, and the National Weather Service is investigating the possibility that the tornado was on the ground for most, if not all, of that 80 miles, striking Talbotton with tornadic winds of at least an EF2.
We're talking 120, 130, possibly 140 mile-an-hour winds.
Keith, how fortunate are we here in Georgia not to have any fatalities?
We're very fortunate that we're not dealing with the same thing that they're dealing with in Lee County, looking at the damage around here.
We just try to make the best of the situation. We're trying to make the best of it. And for it to do this to the city is really heartbreaking and shocking and devastating. But you got to make the best of the situation, pray God will answer it, and He by our side, and all we got to do is just stick together.
More than a dozen people in Talbotton were sent to the hospital, none with life-threatening injuries. Again, that's just incredible, given the level of damage that we've seen here. Let me show you something. The debris field in this apartment building is all pushed that way. That's significant. We're talking about a narrow field of rotation because just across the street, the trees are laying this way. Again, this is the direct path of the tornado, given that we've got debris going this way, debris going that way in a very, very small space. The tornado was on the ground right through this apartment building. That's the very latest from Talbotton. I'm Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
Just devastating. Doug, thanks. Governor Brian Kemp's declared a state of emergency in Talbot County along with Grady and Harris counties. He toured the damage this afternoon.
I think they're pretty resilient people from what I've seen from them. You know, a lot of people out helping their neighbors, which is great to see.
The governor going on to say the damage is much worse in person and pictures just don't do it justice.
Well, the Red Cross is sending help to the areas hit by the tornadoes. Volunteers left from their headquarters in Atlanta just about an hour ago. They'll jump into action, providing critical needs like food, water, and shelter. And as bad as it is in Georgia, it's worse in Alabama.
A tornado tore through Lee County, Alabama with vengeance. The sheriff says that the path of destruction is about a mile wide, several miles long. That he says the only thing worse than seeing the damage is knowing almost 24 lives were lost. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in Lee County tonight. And Denise, from where you're standing, you can see the power of this storm.
Yeah, I certainly can. And not only was this tornado strong with estimates of winds 170 miles an hour, it was big and it stayed on the ground a long time. Right now, I am on the outskirts of the hardest hit area. And even here, you can see this tin roof that was tossed here from a building about 30 yards away. And if you look beyond that roof to the woods there, you can see dozens and dozens of trees just sheared off right at the 8 to 10 foot mark. On the other side of this field, there are homes. There are trees on some of those homes, but the people who live there say they're the lucky ones.
Tragic, honey, tragic. People are dying. It's awful.
The devastation is beyond belief. At least 23 people dead, 3 of them children, killed by the powerful winds of Mother Nature.
The loss of life and the hurt, the pain that these families are going through, words cannot express.
Sheriff Jay Jones has seen the aftermath of the life-taking tornadoes that ripped through Lee County, Alabama Sunday night.
2 homes completely leveled and gone, houses moved off foundations, houses completely obliterated and scattered into wooded areas, vehicles overturned, everything from small vehicles all the way up to large tractor trailers, transport trucks that were turned on their side.
Mary Patel sought shelter in her niece's home.
It was just like a huge wind, and I was praying the whole time, sir. But it was like a wind, and all of a sudden it just stopped.
Patel says her niece's home was spared, but everywhere she looked, she saw damage and destruction. When she returned to her own house, she found a tree had fallen on it.
I'm blessed. You know, mine can be fixed. But, you know, there's a lot of lives that won't ever be fixed. And that's what's so sad.
Yeah, lives changed forever. At least 23 people dead, and the sheriff says he fears there will be more. Dozens of people are in the hospital right now, some of them in rough shape. And the sheriff says that there are still about a dozen homes that still need to be searched. Now, I talked to the governor, and she told me that earlier she had talked to President Trump. I'll have more on that on Fox 5 News at 6. Reporting live in Lee County, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
Your heart just goes out to folks there. Denise, thanks. That storm system that brought all those tornadoes has now moved out, leaving some really cold temperatures behind.
Let's get right over to Fox 5 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist David Chanley with a close look at the path of the tornadoes as well as tonight's falling temperatures. David.
Yeah, Emerson, Tom, it was something else seeing the storms develop yesterday in a couple of concentrated areas. Now, the folks from the National Weather Service offices in Birmingham and in Peachtree City doing yeoman's work to look at all the storm reports that we have out here between east central Alabama and right through middle Georgia, and they're out there taking a look at these, and we're getting preliminary reports in some of the surveys right now. We do know that the one where Denise was reporting from out that rolled through Lee County, Alabama, just in the outskirts of Beauregard there, EF4 tornado. That is massive, 170-mile-an-hour winds. It was on the ground right now at least 24 miles and a 1 mile wide. Now that same storm, and we'll put the pieces together, was the one that rolled into Talbot County where Doug Evans was. There's an EF2 preliminary report of 110 miles an hour. And don't know if that was on the ground the whole time. That information is still coming in, as well as other tornadoes down in Middle and in South Georgia. All right, so here's the story.